Come join Libby and Molly, the ladies of Consignment Chats, as we build a resourceful community of collaborative resellers.
Hey y'all, welcome to episode 74 of C Chats. Libby, how are you?
Excellent. Very excited for this episode today.
So look, today's episode is our C Chats book club review. Libby and some of our community has made it through How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. And I am really sad I missed out on the last half of it, but Libby's going to get us a review. But first, before that, stop. Right now, stop what you're doing. Hands up, Libby. You ready? Like, subscribe, follow us. Right?
Yeah, anywhere. We're Consignment Chats everywhere. You can find all of our places at consignmentchats.com.
So make sure you do that. Check out our Patreon. Make sure you subscribe and leave us some reviews. Apple Podcast helps a lot. All that good stuff. Look at us self-promoting right off the bat.
I just have to tell you, I'm so happy we started the Patreon because it's really just allowed us to connect with people. So our bottom tier for the Patreon is $5 a month. And with that, you get a discount on the merch we're coming out with. But most importantly, you get a monthly call where we're discussing the hot topic of the month and we're checking in on accountability. And I just love being able to connect with people on that personal level. It's been
so much fun, right? So much fun. It's so inspiring to talk to each other. When we get done with those calls, I'm like ready to rule the world.
Yes, they've been definitely, they're definitely not fun and play. They're definitely business oriented. But it is nice getting to know people through their businesses.
Yes.
Sure.
And it's so supportive. And I just feel like we're learning. And I love that. Love it.
It's even better than I thought it was going to be. I'm just really excited.
Right. Hey, tell me something special about your week. What's been going on?
Well, I'm going to just talk about this morning, if that's okay. So
Sure.
We're recording this on a Saturday morning, and Michelle, Shop Daisy Avenue, lives down the street from me, and she texted me and said, your neighbor's having a yard sale. Do you want to stop by? So we had to be back by 9:30 because she had a volunteer. So we did a little fast and furious run this morning. We hit a yard sale, and then we went to an auction. But, we couldn't, it was the most fun-filled auction I have ever been to. They were auctioning off the house and all of its contents.
The house,
the contents separately. Yeah.
Did it kill you to walk away? Oh my gosh.
It was absolutely painful. It was absolutely physically painful because I just kept thinking, like, for those of you that listen, I'm not much of a shopper, but my son and I love auctions, and it was painful to walk away. Like, I was just like looking around, I'm like, dollar signs everywhere.
Oh my
collectible stuff.
I'm so sad you couldn't stay.
I know. Guess what I found at the yard sale next to my house?
What?
Vintage dress forms.
Stop it.
Yeah.
Stop it.
Two.
Oh, I love that. You'll have to share.
They're rough, but they're adjustable and they just look cool.
I love it. Will you share pictures in our C Chats community?
Oh, yeah. I can't wait because somebody had asked in our community about mannequins, I think yesterday or the day, but one day this week had asked about mannequins. And here I go down the street and there they were.
Lo and behold.
It's
like the spotlight shines. Adjustable mannequins, vintage.
And I had a laugh because the guy that was selling them was like, oh, we use these for like a Christmas display we did. My wife decorated them or whatever. And he said, all right, so we used the one. He's like, we made this one big like a man. And I'm thinking, all right. It was a big guy saying this, so like I didn't take offense or anything.
Right.
He's like, yeah, we made this one like big, like a man, and then we dressed him as the man, and then the woman was like the little petite one. And I'm like giggling because I wanted to make a plus size mannequin, or at least a normal size mannequin. So I had a little giggle at that.
Wow.
How about you? What's up? I'm like, blah, blah, blah.
Oh gosh, what's up? Okay, so I had a busy Saturday morning too. I was back and forth. I saw a lot of yard sales and I was back and forth. And I was like, no, I'm not going to go because I had a customer, a local customer coming by to look at silver. And so I thought, well, I need to be here for Robert. But then when I talked to you this morning and you said you were going out, I was like, okay, I need to run. I need to go. That just gave me the kick I needed. So I went, I didn't have as big of a pow as you did at mine, but it's always fun just to get out. So I enjoyed that. Then I came back and met with Robert, who has been purchasing some of the family silver that we have in our online store. And it's just been a ton of fun with him. He keeps, every time I think he's done, he comes back for more. He is completely into researching the history of my family, all dating back into the 1800s in Charleston and who's who and what's what. And it's just been quite a neat relationship. One of those ones that you make through this business and you're like, wow, this is really cool. Really cool.
Oh, I'm going to put a little plug in here because for those of you that don't do local pickup on eBay or do larger items, go back and check out our episode on selling large items and local pickup on eBay. I know a lot of people are resistant to it, but I just had two that I did this week, 2 large items that people came and picked up. And guess what? They didn't live in my area.
They drove there, huh?
They drove there from far away. Yeah. From like hours away.
It's worth doing
they
it.
Send people to pick up. So don't be afraid to do large items or offer local pickup. Check out our episode on that. Molly's relationship with this, with Robert, with the silver, actually benefited from the local pickup, even though they are shippable items. He wanted to be able to physically, see them because they are, what do you say? Like high-end, very high-end collectible items.
Yes,
so,
yes.
That works. So don't be afraid of that. Yeah.
And because of that kind of service, he like I say, he's come back multiple times, spending and buying more and more and more. So it's been a fun relationship. I love him. He's so much fun. And he calls me and he's like, hey girl, what's up, Miss Molly? It's Robert, so it's just, we've become friends and it's nice. It's nice because he's teaching me things. He's very knowledgeable in the Charleston history, which is a lot of my family roots. So he has done more genealogy tracking of my family than I've ever done. People I knew in my family, but he's lining it all up for me. So we have plans to do more in the future with that, but I'm so glad that we had local pickup and I was able to have him come safely to pick up with my husband here and realize that he's a nice guy and build a relationship with him. So it's been pretty cool.
That's amazing. Yeah. You know what else happened this week was the eBay Seller Check-in.
Yeah.
The summer Seller Check-in. That was pretty cool. I went to that. They did it online. They talked a lot about like adding video to your store, and they're really embracing collectibles in the collectible category and the one-offs. Like the days of when we really ramped up on eBay, they were trying to be more like an Amazon. Mm-hmm. Those days are gone. They are really embracing.
Thank goodness.
It's amazing. It's good to see the seller grants they are doing. So I'm going to post in the community about that. The link, everybody should apply. It's worth a shot. They're giving away, what is it, $10,000 grants.
Oh, wow. That's great.
I think it's the 3rd year they've done it. And a lot of people quite a few people in our community have actually received those grants. So
I just love that.
It can happen.
Fantastic.
Yeah. And they talked about, I'm going to throw this out there, what they're doing for eBay Open. It will not be in Vegas this year. They will be doing another eBay Open online. And we did that last year. If you didn't check out our review of the eBay Open online and all the, good points of it, check out that video that we did. I think it's pretty good.
Yeah, and it was very well organized. I was impressed because a lot of times you do these things online and you don't feel like you're really part of it, but they did a wonderful job, I think.
I totally agree. So definitely check that out. It's gonna be September 21st to the 23rd. And on the 23rd, they are going to have 3 in-person events. I think it was Los Angeles, New York, and Texas. I'm sorry, I forget the city in Texas. But they announced that. So I'm convincing Molly to come up and do the New York one, and we'll do a little girls trip kind of thing.
We shall see. We shall see.
So yeah, that's what's going on.
All right. I love this.
Just so much.
I know there's so much. We could go on and on, right? We never have a problem talking.
No.
Never.
No.
But I think we need to talk about this book that you got all the way through and I missed out on, because I want to hear more about it. What I started with I was very impressed with. I want you to go with it. I want this review. I want to hear it.
Okay. So we chose this book. We voted on it in the book club in our community is the next one we're going to be doing. We have a separate private group on Facebook where we do the discussions. This was kind of a unique book in that we broke it up over 13 weeks and we met once a week for 13 weeks for little half-hour sessions and kind of discussed it because it was very action oriented. You can join the group, you can go back and you can see those videos if you're interested in anything. But all right, so how to win friends and influence people. I've said before, this title was totally off-putting to me, so I had never read the book. It would come up all over the place all the time, and I just didn't read it because it sounded a little too like new age, self-helpy. It was written in the 1930s, by the way.
Just crazy to me that it's still
so relevant. So Pure Hustle Podcast, as we like to call them, the boys. They don't know we call them the boys.
The boys,
I'm just going to throw that out there. The boys over at Pure Hustle Podcast did a level up review of it. And so that got me to read it, I don't know, 2 or 3 years ago. And it was a real eye opener. But it is so action based that I would say like you probably could read it every year and just get something out of it. So wow. that is what I'm going to tell you. It is a very easy read. There are super fun examples. There are all different editions of it. The one we read was the main one we read was from 1981. I felt it was relevant, very relevant. Then there's also how to win friends and influence people in the digital age. It's not as easy to read. I think it needs a little work personally, just totally my opinion. If you're interested in these, I'm going to hook up our Audible link in the show notes so you can get a free trial of Audible and you can download both for free. I think you get a free 30-day trial for Audible. So check that out if you're interested.
Perfect.
All right. So history. It is not written for a sociopath, even though the title does kind of make you think that a little bit, right?
Yes.
All right. So I do have to say, in conjunction with this book, our motto since we attended the Business Boutique Conference had the one thing that Molly and I latched onto. What is it, Molly?
Oh my gosh, don't put me on the spot.
I'm so sorry. I can answer it if you can't.
You need to answer it because my brain.
Put it on the back of a t-shirt for me.
Oh, we're not for everyone.
We're not for everyone.
We're not for everyone.
Right. So we have this mindset, and then I'm like, keep saying like, I'm not for everyone, and that's okay. My business is not for everyone, and that's okay. C-Chats is not for everyone, and that's fine. Okay. So in conjunction with that, I'm reading the book, How to Win Friends and Influence People, thinking, all right, these two are just, diametrically opposed, right? But it's really not. The whole crux of this book is just about really understanding where the other person is coming from. Most people are very good and they are trying to do the right thing. Even like in the beginning of the book, they talk about the worst criminals in history. Al Capone, I forget the name of the other guy, but and, all of these people felt justified in their actions and felt as though they were doing the right thing. So it really is about looking at things from the other person's perspective and starting there with common ground and giving us the tools to do that, very actionable tools. Like, I'm going to go through some of the principles in the first part. Don't criticize, condemn, or complain. That's a goodie.
Yeah.
Give honest and sincere appreciation. Arouse in the other person an eager want. Okay, so I really want to talk about the one that says about the appreciation.
Okay.
Give honest and sincere appreciation. And there's so many mentions of this in the book about how important it is. Like, a lot of people don't work for money. They don't do their jobs to be monetarily compensated. Yes, they are. But the thing that will take you the furthest is when somebody does something good, or even if you have to seek out that thing that they're doing right instead of condemning or criticizing, you need to do that. You need to do that. And it'll kind of change the dialogue. And that is present throughout the book.
This takes me back to my preschool teaching days. Have I ever told you this? I'm going to use a name. I'm going to break in and tell a story because it's the same.
Yeah.
It's the same kind of idea.
All
When
right.
I was a preschool teacher years ago, I had this one particular child who just was the biggest handful I'd ever had in a classroom situation. And every day I would just cringe. And it was horrible because I love children. But he would walk in the door and my stomach would just sink. And I was like, oh gosh, here we go. And it was like a tornado. I mean, there were issues this child needed to deal with, but it just got to the point where I would just deflate when he came in. And you hate to wish that mom took the day off work, he doesn't come, but the dynamics in the classroom when he wasn't there were 100% better than when he walked in the door. And I just got to my wit's end. And one night I got home and I was just sitting there, just exhausted, trying to think, what am I going to do with this child? How am I going to make it through this year? He literally is draining everything out of me. And I thought back and I remembered an episode, and I want to say it was an Oprah episode where she said, start every day by thinking about the things you're grateful for, right? So I took this with this child and I put it in my mind of every day moving forward, I am going to find 3 reasons to give this child a hug and tell him he did good. It might be that he walked over the threshold. I don't know, because I was really going to have to dig deep for this.
Yeah.
But I was going to find 3 reasons every day to give this child a hug and tell him he did good at something. And it wasn't a week that it, now don't get me wrong, it didn't get 100% better because there were neurological issues that needed dealing with. And as you start that stage in preschool, we're not going to get all medical and all. But anyway, there were things that were beyond my control that he needed more help with. But that little change in my attitude not only changed me, but changed him. And then started to change the other children around him.
Wow.
And it was like one of my favorite preschool teaching stories. So that just reminded me of that.
Powerful. Yeah. It's such a powerful thing that should be so easy and ingrained in us to do. Yeah. So, and the other thing that kind of ties into this is something that I hear Tony Robbins talk about a lot is people need to feel important. They need that level of importance. Everybody needs to be, addressed by their name. Everybody should be addressed by their name. That's big in this book, using people's names. And I think, with the internet, social media, all of that stuff, we've gotten away from a lot of these basics, and they still do make a big difference, especially if you're doing it and no one else is.
Wow. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, so he talks about people's need to feel important, and you should address people kind of in that manner. making them feel important. And there are different ways to do it and different techniques. You can check out the book club, or you could read the book and kind of find out. But I have been doing this every hour I spent running this book club, reading this book, and putting it into practice has paid me back in spades. I can't tell you how many I have. One of the things that I personally struggle with is confrontation, dealing with issues head on. I'm an avoider. Not knowing how to deal with those difficult things or everyday things, or getting angry when somebody addresses me in an angry fashion, or a customer or whatever. It is definitely something I struggle with totally. And this gave me the tools to put into practice to look at the other person's perspective, deflate the situation. I mean, when you work in retail, right, you're going to have these situations.
Sure, 100%.
I have been using it in my correspondence. I've been using it in my personal life. I have been using all of these tips and tricks, and it has just paid me back just in spades. It's so amazing when you take a second to stop and think about where the other person is coming from and why they think they are correct.
Well, you did this. I don't know if you remember, and I'm not going to use names. I'm not even going to use profession, but they were in a customer service profession. And you will remember this. You had a consignor recently that you were like, I think I have to fire this consignor.
Yeah.
And you handled her beautifully because you responded to her in a way of telling her, you understand, that she's in the same industry. And I can't remember the wording you used, but it totally changed things. And the way she responded to you.
The tools to say, I know exactly what you're talking about, and had come at me, and she was very upset and critical and just ready to just blow things up. And I just, responded to her, I know with what you do, you also like to provide the best customer service and give back to the community, much like we're trying to do. And, sometimes that means, certain things take precedence or whatever, but I did it all from her perspective. And the response was ridiculously amazing.
Right? I mean, that was like textbook example of how it worked, because this had been an ongoing issue with her that just kept building.
Yeah,
and that response that you did was beautiful, because she could then internalize that and connect with that. And you made it very connectable for her by putting it in those terms.
And without reading this book, I mean, that situation would still be going on now, and I'd still be dealing with the nightmare and headache. And
yeah.
How
about that?
That's just one example. Yeah.
Well, I have one I need to ask you if the book deals with, because you've gotten really good about giving me kudos and text and all during the day. What do you do if you're on the receiving end and it makes you uncomfortable? Like, I don't receive it well. Like, not in a negative way towards you, but I always respond to you sarcastically when you send it. Like, oh yeah, whatever, like, I don't take it and go, oh, I did do a good job, didn't I? I feel good about that. Like, it makes me uncomfortable, and I deflect it in sarcasm.
I think so many people do that, right? If somebody tells you, oh my gosh, you look so nice today, be like, oh yeah, I'm a mess, or whatever. It's just
I always have a response. I always have a response. I'm sorry, while we're talking, I've got a hair in my eye that's driving me nuts, but go ahead.
Yeah, the book doesn't talk about that, but let's talk about it, right?
Because I was wondering
this, and it's something that I think both of us have been working on. When somebody tells you something or tells you did a good job, not to deflect it, to own it. Yeah, you know what? I did do a good job with that. It doesn't come naturally.
But you just need to say thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, or thank you. I appreciate that. But I think even taking it one step further, like internally, like, yes, you're saying thank you. I appreciate that. But also in your head, giving yourself permission to say, you know what? I did a really good job on that. I'm happy with what I did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've got to be better about that, because I know there's a lot of us out there that do that. I have been trying to get better about the compliments from people that, oh, I love your dress, just to say, oh, thank you.
Right.
But I would always follow up with, oh, thanks, it's a little tight here. Oh, I always had some kind of sarcastic comeback or negative toned comeback, or yeah, but my shoes don't look good with it, or, too bad I didn't have a shirt that matched it, or.
Right. We
God
can go on
forbid.
and on with that, right?
God forbid,
Yes,
I just
don't know. Like, since
stand
I think
up
we
and
need some help
say,
from our sea chatters.
yeah, I need to just stand up and go, well, thank you. I actually love this skirt. I appreciate the compliment. So I have been getting better about that.
And how do you think, all right, let's play this out, right? How do you think that makes the other person feel? Like, they give you a compliment, they go out of their way to say, you know what, Molly, you did a really awesome job moderating C Chats, our recording today. Let's say I'm saying this to you. And
I go,
oh, I was a mess.
I hate my voice. I was so out of it.
Right. I mean, how do you think that makes me feel when makes me use me as the example? How do you think that makes me feel when you say that, when I thought you did a really good job?
I guess that your opinion doesn't matter.
A little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit. Yeah. Or I feel like I'm almost being insincere with my kudos when somebody says that to me. Like,
yeah. I mean, it's obviously different with you and I.
I don't have good taste. Maybe I don't know what's good,
I really don't think you and I feel that way with each other, because we know each other well enough. You just know that I'm sarcastic.
Yeah. But like, no, I'm going to say, like, sometimes when I say like, oh, you did a really good job, and I'm like being I don't say it if I don't mean it.
Right.
That's the other thing in here. Like, you need to be sincere. He talks about the difference between it coming from your heart and coming from your
blowing smoke.
Teeth. Yeah. Coming from your teeth is insincere. Coming from your heart is sincere.
I like that.
Yeah, because it does, like, sometimes when I say, oh, you did a really good job, and you're like, oh, I don't know. And I think, all right, well, that kind of sucks.
I'm sorry. Thank you, Libby.
Like, I think it would feel much better if you said, wow, thank you. I was really happy with how I did, or thank you. I didn't realize it was such a good job.
Yeah, you're right.
I think that might make me feel better.
So listen, then that changes my look on it, right? Because the discomfort is that it's about me, and I don't want it about me.
Yeah.
But now that I look at my response affecting you, that's going to change the way I respond, because I would never want to make you feel bad. Right?
Yeah.
So we have to look at the whole picture.
I'm so glad we did this. This was totally unplanned and totally.
You know what? I think I'm going to go online right now and sign up for a psychiatrist course. I'm ready.
That's awesome. All right. So when we're calling people out in the C Chats community, those of you that have listened to this, and a lot of times people so many times people are doing amazing things out there, and we love to compliment them and, call them out. And so help us do that and take the compliment sincerely.
What does Lisa Rinna say on Bravo Housewives? Own it. Own it. You've got to own it.
Own it. And I wonder if there's any correlation. We did a lot of speaking about, particularly women have a very difficult time saying what they're proud of.
Yes, I think it is. But that was in the Christy Wright book, right? I think it totally is, that we have a hard time. And I think that all is related.
Yeah. Yeah, it definitely is. It definitely is. So little confidence boosters. If somebody gives you a compliment, own it.
Own it.
I don't think people are going out of their way to give people compliments that aren't sincere in general. Usually they mean it.
Yeah.
Don't blow it off. Own it.
Own it. No, I meant it when I gave that little boy his compliments and his hugs. I meant it, because I had to dig deep to find them. And when I found them, I was like, hallelujah. Yeah. You tied your shoes. Way to go. Give me a hug.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I love it. Wow.
I'm just so excited. So I want to mention that I did say something disparaging about the digital age version of this book, but there are some really good tips and tricks for business owners in there that are on social media, and building your personal brand and what the intersection of personal and business is. And I think Patagonia was a really good example they used in the book. So definitely check that out. Don't just blow it off. I would definitely start with this one, much easier to read. I could definitely identify with the examples a lot. So yeah.
All right, good to know.
Next up for the book club.
What is it?
We don't know yet.
We're
going to be voting on it in the book club and in the C Chats community. We're going to be taking suggestions in. Molly had an idea, and I think we might be throwing this out there. There are quite a few resellers that have written books. So I want to get one of those, whether it's the next one or one down the road on the docket. I think that would be a really fun book to do.
I do too. I think it would be a lot of fun to read one of those.
And we won't be doing 13-week extended versions. This was kind of a one-off just because it was so actionable.
Yep.
Yeah.
Hey,
right.
As we're ending our episode 74, I want to throw out there that we are going to be doing, as mentioned before, a monthly this summer Molly's Listapalooza. So if you are not in our private Facebook group, make sure you get yourself in there so you can participate. We're going to do one in June, July, and August. I will have those dates out this week so you can put them on your calendar. If you are an Instagram only person, just send us a DM. Yep. Slide into our DMs and let us know.
DMs. Rhonda would not like that.
I know. Let us know that you want to participate because I put together a message group on Instagram when we do them, and I'll make sure that I add you into that when we are ready to roll.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Till next week.
Until next week, my friend.
Cheers. Thanks for joining Libby and Molly, the ladies of Consignment Chats, as we build a resourceful community of collaborative resellers. Find all the ways to connect with us at consignmentchats.com. Episodes are available on YouTube and anywhere you get your podcasts. In addition, you can find us on Facebook in our Consignment Chats community. Until next time.